Welcome back to my channel, Learning English Level 3. I'm so happy to have you here today. In this video, we're going to talk about something that can help you achieve more in life. How to discipline your mind. We all know that without control, our thoughts and actions can become scattered, and we lose focus. But don't worry, after watching this video, you will know exactly how to train your mind to stay on track. Not only will this help you in your daily life, but it will also improve your English fluency. So grab a seat, make sure you're subscribed because your support means a lot, and let's dive right in. Lesson 1. Understand the power of your mind. Disciplining your mind begins with understanding its incredible power. Your mind is like a garden. It will grow whatever you plant in it. If you fill it with positive thoughts, you will see beautiful flowers bloom, success, confidence, and personal growth. But if you allow negative thoughts to take root, your garden will be overrun with weeds, self-doubt, fear, and failure. The way you nurture and guide your thoughts directly shapes the life you lead. When you discipline your mind, you take control of what you focus on. Your focus determines your reality. If you focus on your dreams, your goals, and the positive outcomes you desire, your mind will find ways to make those things happen. But if you allow your mind to focus on doubts, fears, and distractions, those will also grow and become your reality. The power of your mind is immense. It can create your future, but only if you guide it intentionally. The first step to disciplining your mind is understanding that you have control over what you think about. Your mind is like a compass. It can either guide you toward success or lead you down paths filled with frustration. Once you learn to control your focus, you will unlock the ability to achieve anything you set your mind to. Your thoughts are the building blocks of your reality. What you think about most, you create. Example story 1. Let me tell you the story of Sarah, a young girl who struggled with her studies. She constantly felt overwhelmed and as if she couldn't keep up with her classmates. No matter how hard she tried, she always felt like she was falling behind. Every time she looked at the other students, she compared herself to them and felt like she wasn't good enough. These negative thoughts started to affect her performance and made learning feel like a mountain too high to climb. One day, after a particularly difficult exam, Sarah realized something important. She was letting her negative thoughts control her life. Instead of focusing on how far behind she was or comparing herself to others, she decided to make a change. She stopped looking at her classmates and started focusing on her own strengths. Sarah began telling herself every day that she was capable of learning and improving. She made it her mission to focus on what she could do each day, rather than what she couldn't. She started with small steps, like setting daily study goals and reminding herself that progress, no matter how small, was still progress. Slowly, Sarah's mindset began to shift. Instead of focusing on her shortcomings, she started focusing on her achievements. She found confidence in every small success, and with time, Sarah's academic performance improved dramatically. Within months, she became one of the top students in her class. Why? Because she disciplined her mind to focus on success instead of fear. Example story 2. Now let's talk about Tom. Tom was a talented football player, but he struggled with confidence. Despite his natural skills, he constantly doubted himself. He would watch his teammates perform well and think, "I'm not good enough. I'll never make it." His negative thoughts began to control him, and this lack of belief affected his performance on the field. One day, after a tough practice, his coach sat him down and said, "Tom, I want you to forget all the negative thoughts you have about yourself. Stop thinking about what you can't do. Instead, focus on what you can do and visualize yourself being great." At first, Tom wasn't sure if he could change his mindset, but he decided to give it a try. He started to imagine himself making the perfect pass or scoring the winning goal. Every night before bed, he visualized success on the field. Slowly, Tom's confidence grew. He began to focus less on his self-doubt and more on his strengths. He practiced harder, pushed himself further, and saw his skills improve. Soon his performance on the field started to change. He played with more confidence and became a standout player on his team. Tom's story teaches us that when you stop focusing on your weaknesses and start focusing on your strengths, you can achieve greatness. Discipline in the mind leads to success in real life. Example story 3. Finally, let me share the story of Mary, who wanted to start her own business. First, everything seemed impossible. She had big dreams, but she also faced countless obstacles. The challenges seemed endless, and at times she felt completely overwhelmed. It would have been easy for Mary to quit, to let the doubts take over her mind and abandon her dreams. But she knew that to achieve her goals, she had to discipline her mind. Mary learned to focus on her goals, not on the setbacks. Every day she set small, achievable targets. Things like reaching out to potential clients, researching marketing strategies, or organizing her business plans. Instead of getting stuck in the frustration of the bigger picture, she broke her goals down into manageable pieces. At times, Mary felt discouraged, but she kept telling herself, "I can do this. I just need to keep moving forward." She practiced mindfulness, reminding herself that every little step forward was progress. Slowly but surely, her business began to grow. Today, Mary runs a successful company, and her journey is proof that discipline in the mind can help you overcome even the toughest challenges. Lesson 2. Train your mind with positive habits. Disciplining your mind requires more than just willpower. It demands the creation of positive habits. Habits are like the building blocks of mental strength. They shape the way you think, the way you react, and the way you approach challenges. The more positive habits you adopt, the more disciplined and focused your mind becomes. Think of habits as tools that help train your mind. They give you a structure for your day and help you stay on track. But to truly discipline your mind, it's not enough to just think positive thoughts. You must act on those thoughts, turning them into habits that guide your life. Success doesn't come from wishing or hoping. It comes from taking consistent, intentional actions every single day. And the key to those actions is building the right habits. Whether it's waking up early, exercising regularly, or setting daily goals, small actions can have a huge impact on your mind's discipline. Creating these habits helps you train your brain to stay focused, organized, and positive, which sets you up for success in everything you do. The more you repeat these habits, the more ingrained they become, eventually shaping your mindset and your ability to achieve. Example story 1. Let me tell you about Alex. He used to wake up late every day, dragging himself out of bed just in time to rush through his morning routine and start his day feeling disorganized. His mind was foggy and he never felt productive. Because of this, he struggled to focus on his goals and felt constantly behind. One day, Alex decided to make a change. He knew that in order to become more disciplined, he had to start his day differently. So he set an intention. He would wake up at 6 a.m. every day. The first few mornings were tough, but he committed to it. He started his mornings with a cup of tea and spent 20 minutes meditating to clear his mind and set positive intentions for the day ahead. At first, Alex didn't notice much of a difference, but he kept going. Slowly, this new morning routine became a habit. As days turned into weeks, Alex noticed that his mind became clearer and more focused. He found that he was able to tackle his tasks with more energy and enthusiasm. The fogginess he once felt in the mornings disappeared, and his productivity skyrocketed. By consistently waking up early and taking time for mindfulness, Alex trained his mind to be more focused, disciplined, and ready for the challenges of the day. Example story 2. Next, let's talk about Emma. She had always struggled with her fitness goals. She knew that exercising regularly was important, but she found it difficult to stay motivated. Every time she tried to start a new fitness routine, she would get overwhelmed and quit after a few days. Emma realized that her lack of discipline was the reason she wasn't reaching her goals. Instead of starting with a massive goal like running 5 miles or lifting heavy weights, Emma decided to start small. She set a simple goal: 10 push-ups every morning. It seemed easy enough, and she knew that she could stick to it. She set her alarm for an early start and did the push-ups right after waking up. The first few days were tough, but as she continued to build this habit, Emma's strength improved. After a few weeks, she added 5 more push-ups to her routine. As her strength grew, so did her confidence. Every morning, she felt more empowered as she accomplished her small fitness goal. Slowly, Emma started adding more exercises to her routine, and with each one, she felt her mind becoming more disciplined. The small, consistent habit of doing 10 push-ups every day had built her mental toughness. Over time, Emma was able to achieve her larger fitness goals, all because she started small and trained her mind to stay consistent. Emma's story shows that even the smallest habit can have a profound impact on your discipline and success. Example story 3. Then there's James, a teenager who loved playing video games. While gaming was his passion, he knew that it was taking too much of his time, especially when it came to his studies. Every evening, James would play video games for hours, often neglecting his homework and school responsibilities. He realized that his mind was being distracted and undisciplined, but he didn't know how to break the cycle. James decided to create a new habit that would help him focus on his studies while still enjoying his games. He made a promise to himself. He would study for 30 minutes before playing his video games. First it felt strange. He loved gaming, but he committed to following through with his plan. James created a simple reward system for himself. Once he completed his study time, he allowed himself to play his favorite game for the rest of the evening. Over time, James got used to this routine. The 30-minute study sessions became a habit, and his grades improved as he started prioritizing his schoolwork. His gaming sessions were more enjoyable because he felt accomplished, knowing he had earned that time. This new habit of studying before gaming helped James find balance in his life and made his mind more disciplined and focused. As James continued to implement this habit, he found himself with more time to enjoy both his studies and his hobbies. His discipline had allowed him to improve his academic performance without sacrificing what he loved. James' story shows that the power of habits lies in their ability to help you stay focused, disciplined, and balanced, even when distractions are all around. Lesson 3. Set clear goals. One of the most powerful ways to discipline your mind is by setting clear goals. When you set a goal, your mind has something specific to focus on. This gives your thoughts direction, and once you have that, it becomes easier to stay on track and work toward achieving it. Without goals, your mind can become scattered, jumping from one thing to another without making real progress. However, setting a goal is not enough on its own. For your mind to truly focus and work toward something, your goals must be specific, achievable, and meaningful to you. Vague goals like "I want to be better at math" or "I want to lose weight" may sound good at first, but they lack the direction and clarity that your mind needs to stay focused. You need to break these broad goals down into clear, actionable steps. When your goals are specific and realistic, they give you something tangible to strive for. Your mind will be able to visualize the steps required to achieve them, making it easier to stay disciplined, motivated, and focused. Plus, as you check off your small milestones, your confidence and motivation will grow, driving you forward toward the larger goal. The key is to make sure your goals are meaningful. When you're passionate about the goal, your mind becomes even more committed to achieving it. The deeper your connection to the goal, the more energy your mind will invest into pursuing it. Example story 1. Let me tell you about Mark, a young boy who struggled with learning English. He loved the idea of being fluent, but he found himself getting frustrated because the goal of becoming good at English felt too big and vague. Mark didn't know where to start, and every time he tried, it felt like there was always more to learn and never enough progress. He was overwhelmed by the endless list of things he needed to work on. One day Mark had an idea. Instead of just saying, "I want to be good at English," he decided to set a clear, specific goal. "I will learn 5 new words every day." At first, learning 5 words seemed simple, and Mark felt confident that he could stick with it. He made a habit of writing down the words, learning their meanings, and using them in sentences. As the weeks passed, Mark's vocabulary grew. He began to notice that his ability to speak and understand English improved too. After a few months, Mark had learned hundreds of new words, and his confidence in English skyrocketed. The best part: by setting a clear and achievable goal, Mark could easily measure his progress. He didn't feel overwhelmed anymore. Instead, he was motivated to keep going because he could see how much he had accomplished. Mark's story shows that breaking down a big goal into smaller, manageable steps is the key to progress. Clear goals make it easier to stay focused and motivated, and they give you something concrete to work toward. Example story 2. Next, let's look at Julia. She had always dreamed of going to a top college, but with so much competition and so many requirements, she didn't know where to start. She was working hard in school, but without a clear strategy. Julia often felt lost and unsure about how to stay on track. She needed a way to organize her efforts and focus her mind. Julia decided to set a clear and specific goal. I will study for 3 hours every evening. She broke this goal down further, making sure to focus on different subjects each day to ensure she was well-rounded. In addition, she made a plan to review her progress every week. She would check how much she had learned and where she still needed to improve. If she wasn't meeting her target, she would adjust her study schedule or methods accordingly. Julia's goal was clear, and her mind had something concrete to focus on. It wasn't about just working hard. It was about working with a clear purpose. By studying for 3 hours each evening, she built consistency into her routine. Over time, she saw improvement in her grades and felt more prepared for the college application process. Her clear goal helped her stay motivated and made her focus her energy on studying efficiently. In the end, Julia was accepted into the college she had always dreamed of. The clarity of her goal kept her focused, even when the process felt overwhelming. She showed that setting clear goals not only helps you focus your efforts but also keeps you moving forward, no matter the challenges. Example story 3. Finally, there's the story of John, who had always dreamed of becoming a professional painter. John loved art, but his dream of becoming a successful artist seemed distant and unattainable. He would often sit in front of a blank canvas, unsure of where to start. His desire to be a great painter was overwhelming, but it lacked a clear path forward. One day, John realized that instead of just wishing for success, he needed to set a specific goal. He decided that he would complete one painting every week. At first, this goal seemed manageable, but he knew that it would require focus, commitment, and discipline. Every week, he worked on a new painting, dedicating specific time each day to the process. As he continued with his goal, John saw his skills improve, and his portfolio began to grow. He started showcasing his work online and eventually began selling his paintings. John's clear goal of completing one painting every week had not only helped him improve as an artist, but it had also turned his dream into a tangible reality. He learned that setting a clear goal was the secret to making his passion into a profession. John's story teaches us that clear goals are the key to turning dreams into reality. Without specific, measurable goals, it's easy to get lost in the process. But with clear direction, your mind becomes focused and disciplined, helping you make steady progress toward your ultimate goal. Lesson 4. Overcome negative thoughts. Our minds are powerful, but they can also be our greatest enemy. Every day, negative thoughts can creep in, telling us that we aren't good enough, that we won't succeed, or that our dreams are impossible. These thoughts can hold us back and keep us from reaching our full potential. But here's the truth. You have the power to control your thoughts. Overcoming negative thoughts is one of the most important skills you can develop. It's not about ignoring the difficulties or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on solutions, possibilities, and the opportunities that arise from challenges. When you discipline your mind to ignore negativity, you create space for positivity, growth, and success. The key to overcoming negative thoughts is to replace them with positive ones. It's like replacing weeds in a garden with beautiful flowers. Every time a negative thought arises, challenge it and replace it with a constructive, empowering thought. For example, if you think, "I can't do this," replace it with, "I am capable of learning and improving." Negative thoughts will always come, but by actively choosing to redirect them, you train your mind to focus on what you can achieve, not on what's holding you back. Example story 1. Let me share the story of Lily, a young woman who constantly doubted herself. She was always second-guessing her abilities, whether it was in school, work, or personal projects. She often thought, "I'm not good enough for this," or "I'll never be able to succeed." These negative thoughts became so ingrained in her that they held her back from trying new things. One day, after another round of self-doubt, Lily confided in her best friend. Her friend listened carefully and then said something that changed everything. "Your thoughts don't define you, your actions do." Those words hit Lily hard. It was a wake-up call. She realized that her negative thoughts were not facts. They were just feelings, and she had the power to change them. From that day on, Lily made a decision. She would not let her negative thoughts control her. Instead of focusing on all the things she wasn't good at, she started to focus on the small actions she could take each day to improve. She set small, manageable goals and worked hard every day to achieve them. Slowly but surely, Lily began to achieve small successes, things that she once thought were impossible for her. With each small victory, her confidence grew. As her self-belief strengthened, so did her ability to take on bigger challenges. Lily's story teaches us that when we stop letting negative thoughts define us, we open the door to self-discovery and growth. By focusing on actions instead of thoughts, Lily found her true potential. Example story 2. Then there's Tim, who always thought he wasn't smart enough to become a scientist. He loved science but often found himself intimidated by the complexity of the subjects. Tim would think things like, "I'm not as smart as the other students," or "I'll never be able to understand this." These thoughts made him question his abilities, and for a long time he felt stuck. One day Tim had enough. He realized that his negative thoughts were the only thing standing between him and his dreams. So, he made a conscious decision to stop listening to those thoughts. Instead, he chose to focus on his studies, no matter how difficult they seemed. Tim didn't let the idea of not being smart enough hold him back. Instead, he worked harder and smarter, breaking down complex concepts into smaller, manageable parts. He asked for help when needed and kept pushing forward. With each passing day, Tim grew more confident in his abilities. He no longer allowed negative thoughts to control his progress. His hard work paid off, and eventually, Tim became a respected scientist in his field. His story shows us that when we stop allowing negative thoughts to dictate our actions, we can achieve greatness. Tim didn't let his doubts stop him. He turned them into motivation. Example story 3. Finally, there's Anna, who had always dreamed of running a marathon. She loved the idea of crossing the finish line, but the thought of running 26 miles was daunting. Every time she thought about it, negative thoughts filled her mind. What if I can't finish? I'm not fit enough for this. I'll never be able to do it. Anna was paralyzed by these thoughts, but she refused to give up on her dream. She decided to take a different approach. Instead of focusing on the entire marathon, she focused on one step at a time. She broke the race down into manageable goals, like running a mile or completing a certain number of training sessions. Every day, Anna pushed herself, even when the negative thoughts tried to take over. She reminded herself that each small step was progress, and that no challenge was too big when tackled one step at a time. When race day finally arrived, Anna was nervous but ready. She had trained hard and had learned to overcome her negative thoughts along the way. As she ran, the negative voices in her head started to quiet down, replaced by the rhythm of her breath and the satisfaction of each completed mile. Finally, Anna crossed the finish line, feeling accomplished and proud of herself. Her story teaches us that overcoming negative thoughts is not just about silencing them. It's about taking action despite them. By focusing on small, manageable goals, Anna was able to achieve something that once seemed impossible. Lesson 5. Stay consistent. The final, and perhaps most important key to disciplining your mind is consistency. Achieving success in any area of life doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of small, consistent actions that add up over time. Whether it's losing weight, learning a new skill, or building a new habit, consistency is the secret to success. When you stay consistent, your mind begins to see that you are serious about your goals. It sends a message that you are committed to the process, no matter how challenging it may seem. It's easy to give up after a few setbacks or when progress feels slow. But true discipline comes from the ability to keep pushing forward even when it feels difficult, even when results don't come immediately. Consistency is like the compound interest of success. Small actions done repeatedly will eventually pay off in big ways. When you make consistency a habit, you start to see progress that would have seemed impossible at the beginning. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and trusting the process. So no matter how hard it gets, don't quit. Keep going. When you stay consistent, you prove to yourself that you are capable of achieving great things. Example story 1. Let me share the story of Jack, who wanted to lose weight. Like many people, Jack tried multiple diets and exercise plans, but after a few weeks, he always gave up. He would start with full motivation, but when the initial excitement wore off and the results didn't come as fast as he hoped, he would lose his determination and fall back into old habits. One day, Jack realized that the reason he wasn't seeing lasting results was because he wasn't being consistent. He decided that this time he would stay committed to his goal, no matter how long it took. Jack created a strict diet and exercise plan and stuck to it, even on the days when he felt tired or didn't want to work out. It wasn't easy, but Jack pushed through the tough days and remained consistent. Months passed, and Jack didn't give up. Slowly but surely, he started seeing the results of his efforts. He lost 50 pounds and felt healthier than ever. Jack's success came not because of an intense diet or an extreme workout, but because he stayed consistent with his efforts. Every day he made the choice to continue, and it paid off in the long run. Jack's story is a powerful reminder that consistency, even in the face of difficulty, is the key to achieving your goals. Example story 2. Then there's Hannah, who wanted to learn to play the piano. In the beginning, playing the piano felt overwhelming. She struggled with even the simplest songs and often thought she'd never be able to play the music she loved. There were days when Hannah felt discouraged and thought about giving up. But she had a clear goal. She wanted to be able to play her favorite songs beautifully, and she knew the only way to get there was through consistent practice. Every day, Hannah committed to practicing the piano, even if it was just for a short time. Some days were harder than others, and progress seemed slow. But she never skipped a day. She learned one note at a time, one song at a time, and over time her skill grew. As the months went by, Hannah was able to play more complex songs with ease and confidence. Her dedication to consistent practice had transformed her into a talented pianist. Hannah's success didn't come from trying to play everything all at once. It came from showing up every day, doing the small things, and trusting that consistency would lead to improvement. Her story shows us that when you stay consistent with your efforts, you'll eventually see the progress you've been working for, even when it seems out of reach. Example story 3. Lastly, there's George, who had always dreamed of writing a book. First, it felt like an impossible goal. George had so many ideas, but whenever he sat down to write, the task seemed too overwhelming. He thought, how can I possibly write a whole book? There were so many pages to fill, and it seemed like an insurmountable task. But George decided that he wasn't going to let the size of the goal stop him. He committed to writing just one page every day. It didn't matter how long it took him or how much time he had. He made it a habit to write at least one page every day. Some days he wrote more. Other days it was just a single page. But he stuck to his commitment. A year passed, and George had written over 365 pages. More than enough for a full book. His dedication to staying consistent, even on days when it felt hard, turned his dream into reality. George became a published author, and his success was not because of one burst of creativity or one long weekend of writing. It was because of his daily commitment to consistency. George's story is a powerful reminder that even the biggest goals can be achieved by breaking them down into small, manageable steps. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about staying consistent and building momentum over time. Conclusion. So, there you have it, 5 powerful lessons on how to discipline your mind. Remember, it all starts with understanding the power of your mind and taking small, consistent actions every day. Set clear goals, overcome negative thoughts, and stay disciplined, and you will achieve your dreams. Keep training your mind, and it will work wonders for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Keep improving your English and keep disciplining your mind.